Have you ever been planning an international trip, maybe pulling out your passport, and just wondered, how much power does this little book really hold? How easily can you actually move through the world with it?
Yeah.
And what if I told you, as you're planning that dream vacation or maybe eyeing a global career, that the power of your passport, well, it's undergoing a seismic shift.
It really is a shift that's redrawing maps of global influence.
Exactly. Opening some doors, closing others in ways you might not expect.
Yeah.
Okay, let's unpack this. Today, we're going to pull back the curtain on this evolving world of passport power.
Indeed. And what we often call passport power, it goes way beyond just planning a holiday or a business trip, doesn't it?
Absolutely.
It's really a critical reflection of a country's standing, its diplomatic influence, its economic ties on the global stage.
Right.
So this deep dive, looking at the latest analyses and findings, it'll reveal what's truly behind these really significant shifts in the rankings.
And crucially, what they mean for you. Whether you're a global traveler, a professional looking abroad, or frankly, just someone who likes to stay informed. That's right. Our mission today is to get into the most recent intelligence on these passport rankings and explore their, well, often unexpected impacts on everything from global trade to student mobility. Get ready for some pretty surprising facts here.
Definitely some eye-openers in the data.
So to kick us off, let's talk about the big headline news from the world of global mobility. You might be genuinely surprised to hear this, but traditionally strong passports are actually seeing a bit of a decline. Take the U.S. passport. It's dropped to 10th place in the 2025 Henley Passport Index.
10th place, wow.
That means visa-free access to 182 destinations, which is 4 fewer than last year.
4 fewer, okay.
And here's the kicker. The U.S. is now, and I quote, on the brink of exiting the top 10 altogether for the first time in the index's 20-year history.
20 years, that's quite a statement about the current trends.
It really is.
Yeah.
And the UK has seen a similar slip, now sitting at 6th place. It's definitely a change from what many people might assume.
It's a truly significant shift, you're right. And it tells a compelling story about these evolving global dynamics. The Henley Passport Index, just for context for everyone listening.
Right. How does it work exactly?
Well, it ranks passports based purely on the number of destinations holders can enter without needing a prior visa. Simple as that. And it's powered by exclusive data from IATA, the International Air Transport Association.
Got it. The airline folks.
Exactly. And what we're witnessing now is this clear, consistent rise of Asian nations. Singapore now holds the crown.
The most powerful.
The world's most powerful passport, yes. Granting visa-free access to a remarkable 193 destinations.
Wow, 193.
And close behind, Japan and South Korea, they tie for second place with 190.
Still very high numbers.
Very high. And as you might expect, Europe is still very strongly represented in the top ranks. You've got countries like Denmark, Finland, France, Germany, Ireland, Italy, Spain, all tied for third.
A big group there.
A very strong showing. And then Austria, Belgium, Luxembourg, Netherlands, Norway, Portugal, Sweden in fourth. It just shows Europe's continued strength in global mobility.
But it's not just the usual players shuffling around, is it? What really caught my eye were some of the, well, incredible risers in these rankings.
Ah, yes, the dynamic movers.
Exactly. It shows how fast things can change. Take the United Arab Emirates, the UAE, an astonishing jump, 34 places in just a decade. Now they're in 8th place with access to 184 destinations.
That is remarkable. A huge strategic effort behind that, no doubt.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And China's also seen impressive gains. Climbed from 94th place back in 2015 up to 60th now.
Big jump.
Huge jump. And at the same time, China's increased its own openness, now granting visa-free access to 75 countries.
Interesting dynamic there.
And for any Canadian listeners, your passport is currently ranked 8th, also with 184 destinations, so actually still higher than the U.S.
Which is quite telling.
It really is. And just to paint the full picture, you have to look at the other end of the spectrum. Afghanistan remains at the bottom. Access to only 25 destinations without a prior visa.
That stark contrast.
Yeah.
It really brings home the huge disparity in global mobility. A reminder that the ability to travel freely is far from universal.
Absolutely.
And speaking of dynamic shifts, you mentioned risers. India's also recorded a significant jump just in the last 6 months.
Oh, really?
Yes, climbed 8 places from 85th up to 77th, now with visa-free access to 59 destinations. It just shows this isn't some static list. It's like a living map reflecting real-time changes.
So, okay, these rankings clearly aren't static. They're moving all the time. But let's get to the why. What are the real drivers behind a passport's strength or weakness?
Right.
Is it just about money, economic might? Or are there deeper geopolitical things at play? Why are some rising while others, like the US, are declining?
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it? And it's definitely not random. These shifts are rooted in several interconnected factors. A major one for the U.S. decline, which comes up again and again in the analyses, is reciprocity, or rather, a lack of it.
Reciprocity, meaning
Meaning it's like a global club. If you want your citizens to easily visit other countries, you generally need to open your own doors in return. It's a two-way street.
a give and take.
Exactly. If you keep your doors largely shut, even if you're a powerful nation, well, don't be surprised if fewer countries roll out the welcome mat without restrictions. While U.S. citizens can go to many places visa-free, the U.S. itself only allows visitors from 46 other countries to enter without a visa.
Only 46? That sounds surprisingly low.
It is. It places the U.S. at a surprising 80th place on Henley's Openness Index, barely outranking Iraq on that specific measure.
Wow, okay, so that imbalance is a key factor.
It's a major factor. Think about it from the perspective of, say, an Argentine citizen wanting to visit the U.S. The U.S. citizen might travel to Argentina visa-free, but the Argentine faces a potentially long, expensive, uncertain visa process. That lack of openness matters.
So it's not just about internal policies, it's very much about this reciprocal dance in international relations.
Precisely. As Dr. Jörg Steffen, a leading voice in this area, puts it quite well, he says, "Your passport is no longer just a travel document. It's a reflection of your country's diplomatic influence and international relationships."
This makes sense. Excess is earned.
Access is earned, exactly.
Yeah.
And it has to be maintained through active strategic diplomacy. But it's not just diplomacy and reciprocity.
Okay, what else?
Economic strength certainly plays a huge role. Wealthy nations, countries with significant global investments, strong trade ties, stable currencies, their citizens are often welcomed more easily.
As tourists, investors, business partners.
Right. And finally, things like internal security, efficient governance, and adhering to international laws are critical. Countries seen as stable and low risk find it much easier to negotiate visa agreements.
So it's a blend of factors: diplomacy, economics, governance, security.
It's a complex mix, a blend of hard power and soft diplomacy.
Okay, we've talked about the big picture shifts and the why.
Yeah.
But let's zoom in now on something maybe even more personal, more far-reaching. Because this isn't just about whether your next vacation needs a bit more paperwork. What's truly fascinating, I think, is how these changes ripple out, how they touch fundamental aspects of global life, everything from trade to education. Here's where it gets really interesting.
You're absolutely right. The implications go deep. For U.S. citizens, for instance, this downgrade could mean facing more visa hurdles than people holding higher-ranked passports.
So more planning needed.
It's definitely more planning. American travelers, and this includes students too, should be really vigilant. Regularly check entry requirements using official tools like the U.S. State Department's Learn About Your Destination page.
And you mentioned students. How does it affect them specifically?
Well, this decline can directly impact American students. It might create more administrative barriers for academic exchanges, maybe research programs or internships abroad.
Can you give an example?
Sure. Imagine a talented American biology student hoping for an internship at a top research institute in, say, South Korea.
Okay.
Their Singaporean classmate might get an electronic travel authorization online in minutes, but the American student, they might now face weeks of visa applications, gathering documents, maybe costly interviews, proof of funds.
Adding stress and cost before they even start.
Exactly. Significant stress, significant financial burden.
Yeah.
It's a real disparity that can genuinely influence who gets access to these top global opportunities and who might just decide it's easier to stay closer to home.
And it goes even deeper than individual travel or study, doesn't it? Especially when we look at global trade. I was looking through some fascinating research from CEPII.
Ah, the French International Economics Center. Good stuff.
Right. And they really dig into how visas act as a barrier to international trade in goods. It's not just an inconvenience, it's a measurable drag on the economy.
That research is crucial, absolutely, because it establishes a strong causal link. It's not just correlation. Visas have a large negative impact on bilateral trade flows.
How do they show that?
Well, they used a clever natural experiment involving Ecuador, Bolivia, and the Schengen area in Europe.
Yeah.
When visa requirements were introduced there, trade dropped significantly.
How significant?
By around 43.5% in their preferred model. That's a huge hit, demonstrating a direct cause and effect between visas and reduced trade.
Wow. And why is that? What's the mechanism?
A key reason is the importance of face-to-face contact in business. You just can't replace it sometimes. There's survey data from Oxford Economics backing this up. It shows the conversion rate from a prospective customer to an actual customer nearly triples with in-person meetings.
Triples. Seriously?
Seriously, we're talking something like 42% conversion for executives and business travelers who meet in person, compared to only about 16% without that direct interaction.
That's massive. So building trust, closing deals, it often needs that handshake.
Precisely. You can't put a price on that personal connection, especially for complex deals or building long-term partnerships.
So visas act like a barrier that's especially high for, say, new businesses or maybe more unique products. It makes it harder to even get that first meeting.
Exactly right. Visas function as what economists call fixed trade costs. They hit particularly hard when you're trying to gain new customers or enter new markets.
Okay.
Which means the negative impact is much, much larger for differentiated products, things like custom-made goods, specialized technology, unique services.
Right, things that aren't just commodities.
Exactly. Compared to homogeneous products, like raw materials, where maybe an in-person meeting isn't as crucial. If you're selling oil, maybe you don't need to meet face-to-face. If you're selling a complex, bespoke software solution, you probably do.
That makes total sense.
And it's not just about existing types of trade. Visa restrictions also significantly reduce the number of new products a country exports to a given market.
So it hinders innovation and diversification.
Directly. It makes it harder for countries, especially developing ones, to broaden their export base, to move up the value chain beyond basic commodities. It hampers economic complexity.
That's a really critical point. It sounds like this visa burden falls disproportionately on developing nations then.
It absolutely does. Visas are a much, much heavier burden for poorer countries. There's a strong correlation, in fact, between a country's per capita income and the number of visa-free destinations its citizens enjoy.
So the richer you are, the easier it is to travel, which probably helps you get richer. Bit of a cycle.
It can certainly reinforce existing inequalities. And the potential gains from removing visas are striking, especially for developing economies. The CEPII research estimated that for some sub-Saharan African countries like Congo, Equatorial Guinea, Angola, removing visa barriers could increase their welfare by nearly 10%.
10%, just from easing visa rules.
Nearly 10%. And the average welfare gain for developing countries overall was estimated at around 1.5%. This isn't just about making travel easier, it's a powerful economic lever.
Wow. That really puts it in perspective. It's mobility fueling prosperity.
It really is. It unlocks potential for trade, for knowledge sharing, for human capital flows that are otherwise blocked or significantly slowed down.
Okay, this is fascinating.
Yeah.
But you know, not all passport indexes are created equal, right? We've mostly talked about the Henley Index.
Yeah.
But there are other ways to measure this power, aren't there? And they offer different perspectives. It seems like there's more than one way to look at this.
That's a great point and really important for a deep dive like this. Henley is widely cited, it's well known, but its methodology is very straightforward.
How so?
It gives a score of 1 for any kind of visa-free access that includes visa on arrival, an ETA, a visitor's permit, anything that doesn't require a prearranged visa from an embassy. If you need that embassy visa, it's a 0.
Simple binary, yes or no?
Pretty much. And importantly, it treats all destinations equally. Access to a tiny island nation counts the same as access to the US or Germany, and it's updated quarterly, so it gives a clean, easy snapshot.
Okay, so it's a good starting point, but maybe it misses some of the real-world nuance. Like, surely visa-free access to a major economic hub is more powerful in some sense.
Exactly, and that's where other indexes, like the Visa Guide Passport Index, try to provide a more nuanced picture.
How does Visa Guide do it differently?
Their unique feature is something called the Destination Significance Score, DSS, for each country you might travel to.
Destination significance.
Yeah.
Okay, what goes into that?
It's not arbitrary. It factors in things like the destination country's GDP, its power index reflecting global influence, its tourism index, its human development index score. basically how significant that destination is on the world stage.
Right, so not all destinations are weighted equally.
Precisely. And then different visa policies get different multipliers applied to that DSS. So regular visa-free travel or an ETA gets the full DSS score multiplied by 1.
Okay.
A visa on arrival gets a slightly lower multiplier, maybe 0.8. An e-visa, which still requires an application, might get 0.3. A traditional embassy visa gets 0.
Makes sense.
And interestingly, completely passport-free travel, like within the Schengen area, gets a tiny boost, 1.01. But being banned from entry really hurts the score, a multiplier of negative 0.5.
That sounds much more detailed. It reflects the practical value of different types of access to different places.
It does. It means being able to travel visa-free to, say, Germany contributes much more to your passport's overall power score in their index than visa-free travel to a smaller, less economically central nation. It reflects a more practical reality for business, for study, for significant travel.
And how often is that one updated?
The Visa Guide Index is updated monthly, which helps it capture rapid changes in visa policies or diplomatic relations even faster.
So, to sum up the difference, Henley gives you a clear, simple count of doors open. Visa Guide tries to tell you how significant each open door actually is.
That's a good way to put it. Visa Guide offers a more layered, detailed analysis. It argues that not all visa-free access is truly equal, and it results in these unique, very specific scores for almost every passport. It allows for perhaps a deeper understanding of true global mobility.
What a deep dive this has been. We've covered a lot of ground today.
We certainly have.
It's crystal clear that passport power isn't fixed. It's incredibly dynamic, constantly shifting based on this complex dance of diplomacy, economics, and reciprocity.
Yeah.
We've seen how some traditionally dominant passports are facing new challenges, like the U.S. potentially slipping out of the top 10, while others, particularly in Asia and places like the UAE, are climbing rapidly.
Real shifts in the global balance.
And it's absolutely not just about planning your next trip. These changes have really profound impacts on students looking for opportunities abroad, on businesses trying to trade internationally.
Especially for those differentiated goods needing face-to-face contact.
Exactly. And even as that CEPI research showed on the fundamental economic welfare and development prospects of entire nations, a passport really is so much more than just a travel document.
It truly is. It's a potent symbol, a reflection of a country's place in the world, its connections, its influence, constantly evolving.
Indeed. And as the world keeps changing, understanding these shifts in global mobility becomes more and more vital, doesn't it?
It really does. It encourages us all, I think, to consider how these trends might impact our own plans to travel, education, business, whatever they may be.
And also to think about the bigger picture, the implications for international relations as countries navigate this increasingly interconnected, complex world.
Absolutely. It's about having the knowledge to navigate this shifting landscape effectively, both personally and perhaps in understanding global affairs.
Well put. It's certainly given me a lot to think about.
Me too. It's a fascinating and important topic.
All the best, and we will meet again with another important subject in the next meeting.